Hello, good morning, and welcome to the Temperament podcast on PKFM. My name is Emmanuel Kwesi Mesa. We started this 3 weeks ago, and we try to make ourselves get to the knowledge of what temperaments are, educate ourselves on it, and also to know the strengths and weaknesses of this temperament, how we can live peacefully or peaceably with our partners, how we can understand them better because we know how they are wired or the kind of temperament they possess. And so for the past week, this is what we've been doing. We've been looking at the temperament types, the cholerics, the sanguines, the melancholic, and the phlegmatics. And we've explored a lot about them. We looked at some career paths or some jobs that are related to any of these temperaments. We've looked at the strengths and weaknesses of this temperament that we have. And also we've looked at the do's of any of the temperament. And today we're going to end it all with a don't and some questions that we need to ask ourselves for further assessment, for further understanding of who we are and which temperament type we really fall in. And so without wasting more time, let's launch straight into it. So we're going to look at some of the don't of any of these temperament that we have. We're going to start with the cholerics. Do not embarrass them in front of others. Do not argue from an emotional perspective. Do not use an authoritarian approach. Do not be slow and indecisive. Do not use physical punishment. Do not attack their personality. Do not wait for them to solicit for your opinion. And do not take their arguments personally. And the last one we're going to look at for the cholerics, do not demand constant social interaction. So these are the things you need not to do when you get close to a choleric or when you are interacting, when you are in the bond, when you are in the marriage with them, and you try to know and understand them. We've looked at what you have to do, and these are the things you need not to do when you get close to them. So we don't offend our partners. So we don't step on their foot so many times for them to get angry at us. Let's look at the next one, the sanguines. Do not be too serious or sober in criticism. Do not push them intensely. Do not forget that they also have downtime. And as much as they talk a lot, and as much as they are always out there, they also need time for themselves. So when you see them being quiet, understand them, they are humans. Do not demand perfection. Do not ignore them. When they are talking to you and you tend to look away, it's going to piss them off. Do not expect them to dwell on problems. They have less time or least time to dwell on problems. Do not give them much room or much rope, or they're going to hang themselves. If you give them much room to operate, give them time to talk about a lot of things, you're not going to like it. At the end of the day, they're going to speak and speak and speak and speak. At a point, you should be able to cut them, but do it in a way that they wouldn't get offended. Do not classify them as lightweight because they always are out there speaking, talking, laying it bare, everything about themselves. You might think they are lightweight or they don't possess, they are not heavy as we put it sometimes. But this is who they are. Never let them know that you have classified them or you are classifying them as lightweight. Do not attack their sensitivity or be unforgiving. And lastly, do not control their schedules or consume their time. These are the things that you need not to do when you get close to a choleric, a sanguine. Sorry about that. And this is the thing. If you get close to a sanguine or you're in a bond with a sanguine and you do these things, they wouldn't, or you wouldn't have a good time being with them. The next one that we're going to talk about are the melancholy. And these things, or these are the things you need not to do when you get close to a melancholy. Do not make them feel guilty. Do not be rude or abrupt. Do not promote too much change. They don't like change at all. And so don't promote too much change when you get close to them. Do not expect spontaneity. They don't do things spontaneously or out of the blue. They think they will take their time before they do things. Do not abandon them. Do not expect them to bounce back easily or quickly after or from depression. When they are depressed, it's very difficult for them to come out of it because they think a lot. And so always there's a battle in there. It's very difficult for them to come out of depression. Do not demand perfection from them. They are trying to be perfect, but once they see that you are demanding for it, it adds to their thinking and it becomes burdensome or worrying for them. Do not push them into making quick decisions. They want to think about it before. They want to relax and do the things. So don't push them into making quick decisions. Do not expect them to forgive quickly when crossed, because of the fact that they are deep thinkers and they don't decide easily. When you wrong them, it's very difficult for them to forgive you. That is it. The last one for them is do not demand immediate action or quick verbal bantering. It's not easy. You wouldn't get it easy at that spot. They talking back to you, or back at you. They want to take their time, think about it, and they come hard at you at their own pace or time. Let's look at the phlegmatics. The things you need not to do when you are in a bond with a phlegmatic or when you get close to them, when you're interacting with them. The first one is do not be cruel or insensitive. Do not expect them to need so much social interaction. They're very quiet people. Do not force immediate verbal expression. Do not be domineering or too intense. They like things boko, cool, slow. So do not expect to be, or do not be domineering or too intense. Do not demand conformity to unrealistic expectations. They deal with realistics or real things, and so do not expect them to, or do not demand conformity to unrealistic things or expectations. Do not overwhelm them with too much at once. They want to take it one after the other. And do not force confrontation. Do not rush communication. They don't rush in talking, and so don't rush them into it. The next one is do not take away all their daydreams. They fantasize a lot. They daydream a lot, and so when you get close to them and they are in that realm, do not take away all the daydreams, because they would love to do that. The last one is do not demand leadership. They don't want to be leaders, and so do not demand that thing from them when you get close to them, when you are dealing with them. Why not lead them? Why not do this? Please, if you know the person to be a phlegmatic, don't even go there. Now let's come to some questions that we can ask ourselves. We want to ask these questions, and if you answer yes to many of these questions, then we know which temperament we can identify you with. And so let's go straight into it. The first one that we're going to look at is the choleric. They are assertive people. Do you feel irritated with people and find it hard not to tell them so? Do you often believe that you are correct and then try to swing the opinion of those around you? Is it hard for you to accept new ideas? Do people often tell you that you are stubborn and hard to get along with? In a meeting, are you often chosen as a leader? Are you more confident about your own ideas? Is it hard to back down when you are obviously wrong? Do you find a great stimulus in your profession and in organizations outside the home? Are you often praised for the energy you put into any job or activity? Are challenging situations exciting to you? Do people sometimes misunderstand you and feel you have offended them? Are you more serious about life? Is your energy level high to the point that you can't really relax? Is your idea of a perfect mate a person who is a good listener and also agrees with you? Well, if you answer yes to many of these questions, you may be a choleric. This is how easy we want you to become. Now let's go to the sanguines. Do you love parties and other people? Do you find yourself doing a lot of talking at a meeting or gathering of people? Do you like to spread yourself around to a lot of friends rather than one specific person? Do you feel you look younger than you actually are? Women, would you choose a bright red dress rather than gray? Men, would you pick a colorful tie rather than a plain pattern with a conservative design? Do things pop out of your mouth when you least expect them to? Would you be described as witty rather than reserved? Are you usually very optimistic? When you are depressed, are you really down but rally quickly? Do you have a lot of unfinished projects that you are sure you will finish one day? Are you quite inventive of ways to get out of work? Do you have a difficult time making decisions, such as which movie to attend or which ice cream to order? Is walking in the rain or romping in the snow equally enjoyable to you? Do you leave a mess and feel comfortable in it until you are forced to clean it up? Well, if you answer yes to many of these questions, then you are a sanguine or you are a spring. Now let's go to the melancholy. Are people standoffish with you? Do they approach you only after you display an interest in them? Is mingling with a crowd your hardest choice or chore at a party? Do you worry about what others think of you? Are diamonds and glittery jewelry attractive to you? If your last answer was yes, do you have a difficult time wearing them because they clutter your appearance? Is a quiet corner a comfortable place for you at a social gathering? Do you feel that you were meant for greatness? Are you a sympathetic person but feel reserved in stepping into a situation where you will be dependent on a great deal? Are you a perfectionist, especially about your appearance? Do you get lost in jobs and papers and need someone to get your clutter straightened out? Are you more likely to have one or two good friends than many? Do you resent invasion in your privacy? Do you prefer to work alone? If you answer yes to many of these questions, then you may be a winter. That means you are a melancholic. And so let's look at the last one and ask ourselves these questions for the phlegmatic. Do you often find yourself listening to other people's problems? Are you an easy shoulder to lean on as people confide in you? Though people trust in you, do you find it hard to keep a secret? Do you speak so softly that people ask you again to repeat what you have said? Do you feel conspicuous in bright colors? Do you feel uncomfortable in the presence of other people when they dress in vivid colors? When commenting on someone's clothing, are you apt to say it is attractive, even though to you it is atrocious? Are you a terrific host or hostess and like giving parties or dinners at your home? Do you tease people or love putting the blame on someone else? Would you describe yourself as quietly stubborn? In other words, you get your way nicely? Do you tend to dress in lighter colors? Are your fingers long or very dexterous? Would you rather have a job doing busy work than supervise? If a woman, do you wear many cosmetics? If a man, are you mostly gray and blue colored clothing found in your closet? If you answer yes to many of these questions, then you are summer, which is a phlegmatic. This is where time will allow us to, for this journey that we took 3 weeks ago on the temperament, and I know that we've learned a lot. If this is the first time listening, the other 3 episodes are there that you can hook up to listen to them, so we were able to understand ourselves and our partners better. Next week, we're going to look at personality disorders, and we're going to look at the narcissistic and all that. Thank you.